Yeah, guess what?
Bob Bourke is the mechanic at large.
Hi, welcome to Mechanic at Large. I'm Bob Bourke. Today's show is all about car doors, doors and windows and cranks and handles. We're going to show you how to take off window handles, how to take off door handles, give you a look inside some doors and show you how to adjust some things. I want to draw you a picture in a minute about two different types of handles. Window handles first. We have two different kinds. I'm going to show them to you down here on the bench, and then I'll try to draw you a picture of them to explain to you. We have two kinds. Basically, one kind uses a little circlip. You can see right here, and one kind just has a hole in the center. Now these are tough to see. I'm going to draw you a picture of those. These are window handles. Let's go to our tool illustrator. Beam me up. The doors, our show today, the doors, excellent. All right, we'll start with windows, window handles. All right, first of all, I showed you a little spline shaft. The shaft that the window handle goes onto looks roughly like that. It's got splines on it, or teeth on it, and a little groove, and this goes into your door. The window handle looks about like this, and it's got a little round area in here, and it has got an inside splined hole in it to mount right onto that spline shaft. Now, the ones that have a circlip to hold them on, which is most General Motors and Ford products, have a little wire clip that goes like this. Has two little ends on it and a loop. Now what happens is when we turn this handle and push it onto that spline shaft, that little circlip or little snap ring falls into that groove, and that keeps the window handle on. Excellent system, nothing wrong with it, but it's a little tricky to get off. The other kind is used on most Dodge products and more imports lately. The window handle's just got a simple hole in the middle of it and a screw. The little spline shaft is about the same, except it doesn't have the dip in it. Has some splines here. The handle has some splines here, and it will usually use one of two kinds of screws. It'll use a basic Phillips head screw, or it will use a Allen wrench, 6-sided screw. Okay, we're going to take this off this door. What I'm going to do now is try to reach inside that handle with a little hook. I'm going to use an O-ring pick. You can use a small piece of hard wire. We just ought to stick a little hook in there, hook that clip, pull it off, and our window handle will come off. That's our theory anyway. Let's go and try it. Okay, our General Motors handle. Now, the little clip that I showed you looks like this. I'm going to go in and hook it. The little loop where we're going to hook onto has to go one of two ways. It has to go that way or that way. I already know because I peeked. I know which way this one goes. It's going that way. So what we have to do now is push this door panel back, reach in there. I'm just going to pry this back with a screwdriver. I'm going to reach in there with this O-ring pick with this little hook on it, and I'm going to hook that handle, or hook that clip, and pull it gently up. I'm going to try to do this slowly so that you can see what I get. Oh, there. Excellent. It's coming. All right. There's our little clip that we pulled off with our O-ring pick. You can see how that came off that little groove. In behind we got a washer. We'll drop that on the floor for now. And here's the spline shaft I mentioned to you. Now, one thing you want to look for on these handles, if you have a handle that's stripped so you get into a runaway like this, probably what's happened is that you've stripped the handle. These are made out of what we call white metal, and they're easy to strip. It's not too often that the steel shaft will strip. Let's show you a different one. I've got a window regulator. We'll be getting around to this in a few minutes here and show you the inside. This is a window crank off my little van, and I had the misfortune to be spinning on here when this part of the handle broke off. I went on for about 5 minutes before I realized it was broken. This has got an Allen screw to hold it in. So to take it off, we just put an Allen wrench in there, and if nobody's glued that in on us, we can run that off in short order. The spline is just about identical. It's just that the system of securing it is a little screw or bolt, and there's the little spline as well. I'm going to fix this handle today. I was at a hardware store, and they're selling more and more kits these days to fix things like this. I bought a little kit that's got a knob in it, like this. It's got a little one-time rivet in it that drives into there, and what we're going to do is take this handle, put that little one-time rivet on there, and drive it into this knob, and we'll have a repaired window handle for about, probably a third the price of a new one. Let's line that up. Don't practice on this. You can only do this once with these rivets, so there's no practicing. Tap that down. Don't tap it too tight, but not too loose either, because you want it snug, but you still want it to be able to turn in your hand. Well, I got it. That's pretty good. All right, we've repaired that handle. We can stick it back on our regulator, and it'll go up and down for us. Excellent, for about the third the price of a new handle. What we're going to do in a few minutes now is we're going to go inside this door by taking this panel off, show you how the interior workings work on a door, and we're going to show you what to do if you've got a problem like this. This is a common problem on small cars. You'll get a hole stripped out in the inside body, and the thing that you use to pull the door with all the time will strip on you. So when we come back, we'll pop the panel off, show you how to fix that hole, and give you an inside look at the door on your car. We'll be right back.
Most repairs shown on Mechanic at Large can be accomplished by the average person. Should you feel uncomfortable attempting any repairs, you should contact a qualified mechanic or your local service station. Mechanic at Large and this television station assume no responsibility.
We are going to go inside the door. Now I want to show you a couple things. We're going to take this panel off. When you get to doors on your car, you may find armrests and all kinds of things and accessories on here. They all basically unscrew. They use Phillips or Torx head screws. That's an armrest, see, it just comes off. This is the piece that would go behind it inside the door. Let's just get rid of them. This is another armrest off another car. If you got to take them off, you may have to stand on your head or do the limbo, but you'll find screw holes everywhere. They're always screwed on. They haven't glued them on yet. Let's get rid of that. This is another door panel off the front door of this same car, a little more faded out. Let's flip it over, and I want to show you something that you're going to use when we take this off. These panels are anchored on with little plastic retainers that punch through small holes inside the car door. So when we take it off, what we have to do is slide a screwdriver along until we come to some resistance, and then pop the panel there. Let's get rid of that one. You may also find handle retainers. A little piece of chrome or plastic around the handle, and again, they'll unscrew and slip off. Let's get rid of this pull. I told you before that this was stripped. We're going to take the back screw out of it and get rid of it. Now, take a screwdriver, work along from the bottom of this door, and when you come to some resistance, pop it out, and we're popping those little plastic retainers out. There'll be a dozen or so of them in there. All right, it's loose. You may have to hold your handle out and slide that away. Let's get rid of that for now. Inside, you're going to find a piece of plastic or paper. That's put on for a weather guard to keep moisture out. Let's strip it away. Now, you are really lucky because you're seeing a shot of the inside of a door that's all cut out. I did this before the show. Here's what you'd be looking at if you'd just done this yourself on your car. You can see there's a few holes that you can put your arm through, but I want to warn you, if you're prone to scratching, when you go in here to work in here, you're going to look something like that. It's difficult work. You got to have a small arm and get it in there. Now what we're going to do is jump straight to the door handle. Pull-up door handles, especially in cold weather, have a tendency to break off. If you have to go in there and change that, you're going to have to go in through this area or through this hole here and go up and take off these two little retaining bolts on that screw, or on that handle. You'll probably have to use a flat wrench and go in this way. I'm going to go around the other side, and I'm going to take a socket to this so I can take it off to show you what we're doing. Let's take these off. I'm going to get my socket in there, hold the handle on the outside. Oh, better get it going the right direction. I'm going to take those two little nuts off. There's one loose. Let's see if I can get my fingers in there. Oh, I'm lucky to have this cut away. There's the other. Two little bolts. holding that outside door handle on. Now there's something I want to show you in here. I have to go in and take a little clip off. I'm going to use an O-ring pick again. I'm trying to do this so you can see it. There's a little plastic clip here that holds this control rod on. I'm going to snap it back, if I hold my mouth right. There. Just snap that back and lift it up. We have to move the little control rod out of the mechanism. Great. Now, if you wiggle and jiggle, you can take that outside door handle off. Right, and there's what it looks like. You see these are quite often broken. There's our two mounting bolts. There's that little plastic retainer, and you quite often repair these, like say, if you live in a cold country. Let's set that down. If you can get that off, you can get it back on, so we're not going to talk any more about it. I mentioned that I would show you how to fix a screw hole. This is a stripped out screw hole for that armrest. Now you're going to find this is quite common. You'll find a single thickness of metal from being yanked on all the time they strip. A couple tips on that. The first thing is, if you've got a screw in there that strips, get a bigger screw. Go to your lumber yard, go to your hardware store and find the biggest screw you can. That was stripped, that one fell right out. Get the biggest screw you can and try that first. Now, one problem you run into is sometimes the head of this screw is too big. And you'll say, it won't fit into my hole. Find a buddy that's got a grinder, there it is, and get him to grind down the head of that screw for you. You can do it with a file if you've got a lot of patience. That's the same screw with the head filed down. One other thing, if you're going to be a mechanic, don't be afraid to be a little inventive. Borrow something from a carpenter. Use a butterfly anchor. All right? You can pick these up in any hardware store, use it for hanging pictures on the wall. Get the biggest one you can, drill a hole in there and put that butterfly in. One word of caution, watch the length of your butterfly bolt. If it's too long, it'll go in and interfere with your window. Okay, let's move along. Where's the window handle? I want to show you how a window regulator works. This is called a regulator. I don't know why. I'd call it a gear and a sprocket. Watch what happens when we crank. Hey, excellent. There's what's happening. Now you can see if you watch up in this area, there's two little roller bearings here and a wide track. And your window, they separate to make your window go down. They go together to make your window go up. These things get quite dry and quite stiff. And we'll put a little lubrication on there in a minute. The edges of your window slide in a window track. I got a piece of that right here too. This is window track. It's full of a thing that's like fur, synthetic fur of course, not real fur, and that's the track that runs to hold your glass. Don't lubricate that because you'll have oil or grease on your windows all the time when you put them up and down. Let's get that out of the way. If you've got a power window in your car, we thought of everything today. This is what your power window unit looks like, and it's heavy too. Okay, same thing. We got a regulator, we got an arm, and we got a motor. Here's what happens when you hit the switch. Great. Same principle, same operation, just got a motor doing the work for you. Let's set it aside. Your window crank, we worked on before. If you've got a door handle that needs to be replaced, the best way to know what it looks like or what you have to do to fix it is to buy the new one first. Then you'll know how to get it off and on. This one is riveted on, so you'd have to drill the rivets out, and that's a pretty extensive mechanical job. Now, we're going to show you just how to lubricate the inside of this window quickly and then put it back together. This is white grease. Use white grease on these tracks, all right? In the tracks, anywhere you've got sliding rollers or bearings, use white grease. Use white grease on your regulator, on your gear, on this sprocket. And for the rest of the inside of the window, you can use the good old reliable penetrating oil. Spray it all over in there. And keep everything coated with a little bit of oil or grease, and it'll keep it moving. Now we've got to put that panel back on. I want to show you something about these clips. I mentioned these are little retainers, and what happens is that they'll last 2 or 3 times, and then they'll break on you. Some of them will stick into the door. What you've got to do to get them off the door is just to pry them out, like so. You can use a little crowbar or nail remover if you want to, and there's what they look like. Now in the aftermarket, you can buy these things that are kind of generic and will fit most kinds. Buy some of them. To put them in, there's just got a little quarter turn type nut on. You slip them in, turn them, and whack the door back on. When you put that panel back on, you're basically just driving this little serrated part into the hole, and it'll keep your door on. When we come back, we'll show you all about hinges and how to adjust the door in your car so it closes properly.
Just in case you have an emergency, here's a list of what you should include in a kit. Carry it in your car at all times because you never know when you're going to need it. Bob will be back with more Mechanic at Large right after this.
Now we are going to show you an insider's secret, something that hardly anybody knows except for myself and maybe 2 or 3 million other guys. Let's put the tool illustrator up. We're going to show you how to set a door hinge on a car. All right, sagging door hinges are caused usually on two-door hardtops by long, heavy doors being open and closed. They start to fall off. Let's draw a car here. Wow. No wonder I'm not working in Detroit. What happens is the door in this car will start to sag. You can tell this because your body side moldings will run like this. And all of a sudden they won't meet anymore where that door meets the back door or the rest of the car. This is because of the weight of this door hanging on these hinges. What we're going to do today is bend the hinges on that door. We're going to try to bend the top hinge by putting a 2x4 inside that door and using the length and weight of the door to lift my marker, to lift the door up and bend that top hinge in that direction. That should make our body moldings line up again and make our door close better. One other thing I want to mention, we're going to look at our striker and adjust it. There's two kinds of strikers commonly used. Most import cars use a little striker that looks like a little U. Oh, I better draw that the right way for you. It's kind of like this, a little U, and it's screwed in there and screwed in there, usually with a couple Phillips or Torx screws. This is something that the mechanism in your door lock catches onto. What we're going to look at today on the car we're going to use is a post type latch, and it screws into the car body, and we loosen this off with a Torx screwdriver to move it. I'll show you one of them here. I got one on the bench. This is a General Motors type, and it's a little post latch. You can see it's flattened out on this side, and you'll find that from wear, all right? When they wear down and they're catching that sagging door all the time, it flattens out the top side of them, and when you see that, you've got a sagging door. I mentioned that these can be loosened off. They can basically be unscrewed, but it's not a wise idea. This is the piece that's inside your door post. This is screwed onto it. If you do take this off, there's always a chance that this piece can fall down. If it does, you've lost that forever and you might have to sell the car with the door that won't close. All right, so try not to take that right off, but do loosen it and make a mark around it first before you loosen it so you know where it was when you started. I'm going to put that in my pocket in a screwdriver. We're going to go over to our car, but first I just want to show you the hinges here on 3 different types of doors. This is an old Dodge door, and it's a big cast iron hinge up here and a hinge down there. Hinges are made out of formed metal or cast iron. What we want to do basically is bend that top hinge. This is a smaller import car, and you can see these are small cast iron hinges that are kind of set deep into the door, and they're probably spot welded in there. But you can see these are pretty flimsy. This is an older Chev product, and it's got pressed steel door hinges. You're just looking at half here, but this is what we want to spring. If you get in a car that's really, really rusty, what'll happen is that sometimes the body will rot away in here, and if you try to spring that, you may punch the whole thing or push this whole frame in. If you got a car that's that rusty, you better head for the dealership or for a junkyard and get a new door. Let's go over to our car and we'll try to spring this door. I love this car. I brought my old Trans Am in. What we're going to do is take that 2x4, like I said, we're going to place it down inside here, about a foot from this door post, and we're going to try to close the door on it to make it lift. Now let's have a look at this door when it starts. This door is way out of line. You can see that our moldings don't line up in this area. Okay? So what we want to do is try to lift that whole door, or spring it up, so this molding will come into line and our door will close easier. Let's put that wood in there. I'm going to have to grunt and groan a little bit here. Now what we've got to do is move to the outside of the door and push in on the door. Do this in increments. Don't try to get it all at once. Let's check and see if we made any headway. Oh, we've come up a little. Let's give it another shot. Okay, put that 2x4 in the door and push on that door. Let's check it again. Don't try to do this all at once, or you'll have the door right up over the roof. Let's give it one more. I'm going to move back down here so I can get some leverage. Don't put your hand here, folks, when you do this, because if the 2x4 falls out, you'll slam your hand. Let's check it again. We're just about there. Going to give it one more shot, and I think we'll have it. Oh, we brought her up that time. Oh, yeah. I think we can live with that. Let's go have a look at that striker. You may have to play with this a little bit, but you can get it. And let's take a quick peek at that striker. Now, I brought that one from the bench in my pocket. It's the same striker as this, and I mentioned it takes a Torx head to put it in. Before you move that striker at all, draw a line around it with a pencil or a pen so that you know where it was when you started. If you move the striker too far in, your door won't close to the second notch, it'll close to the first. If you move it too far out, your door won't close tightly, all right? So loosen that off. If you need an assist, you can put a vice grip on there, but try not to cut that striker up too much because you'll catch your dress or your pants on it when you're getting in and out of the car. What we're trying to do here is make this door so it closes nice and smooth, like that. We want these surfaces to mate, because if they do, we won't have a lot of wind noise. That's where your wind noise comes from. If these things aren't meeting, your weather strip doesn't get crunched. One other thing, I noticed in the back seat I hid my white grease in here. Let's put a drop of white grease on that striker. It'll look pretty dry. Not too much, or you'll get it on your clothes as well. Great. We'll try that door again. Beautiful. You've learned something today that not too many people know, how to adjust a door on a car. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Mechanic at Large.
For a copy of this episode of Mechanic at Large, please send your check or money order for $24.95 plus $5 shipping and handling and any applicable taxes to the address on your screen. Or call 1-800-843-3658 and have your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express ready. Please specify the program topic you want and allow 2 weeks for delivery.
Hi there.
There you go.
Thanks. Thank you.
$5.50, please.
$5.50? You bet. Just put this down. Oh, oh boy. $5.50?
Yeah.
Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, glove box. Just a second. Oh, just a sec. Can you hang on to that? Thanks. Phone. Hi, Bob. Yeah, could you do me a small favor?